I just wanted to do a quick video here on my design and my layout before I got started. I used the Instructables website for the design and the layout, the general dimensions of, right here, the marquee, the top, the back, the bottom, and this curve. I, generally laid that out based on, pretty much those dimensions. Obviously, I changed it a bit right here. Again, we're looking at the side of this unit. So let me take the dimensions off real quick so you can see it easier. We're looking at the side of the unit. And this is where the panel fits in. You can see it from there. I'll show you a little bit of an angle. If we do the internal pieces, you can see that the how the panel slides in there, just to show you that. When I was designing this on this is it used to be Google SketchUp, and now it's called SketchUp Make. I think it's owned by somebody else. I'm not really sure what the name of the company is, but it's it's a free application you can use. So I generally just laid them all out, with the same dimensions as listed on the site. I think he used SketchUp, but I couldn't find his file, so I just went ahead and made my own. But when I am looking at this, unlike a lot of the other SketchUp work that I do, I use the parallel projection. The parallel projection does not cause objects as they disappear into the distance to get smaller. Like when you're looking at something, if this panel is 1 foot away from you or it's 20 foot away from you, it's going to look a lot smaller if it's 20 foot away from you. With the way this is laid out, no matter how far that panel is away from me, it's going to look exactly the same size. This is helpful for this type of drafting, where I want to see actual real sizes, and I want to get a nice look like this. So when I add the internal pieces, I don't get some weird skewed view of what the internal pieces look like. I can look at it in 3D as well, but that just gives me a better view of them. Again, here's perspective. So if I look at it like this, I can't see the other side at all, and it looks kind of goofy if I'm trying to lay it out. So here we'll just do the parallel projection, and then we go to camera, and then we tell it what one of the standard views, and we'll go right. So that'll give us the perfect right side of. Okay, so I just previewed the first video, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time for the terrible sound quality. I didn't realize it would be as bad as it is. Sorry about that. My mic is just a piece of garbage. Alright, so anyway, let's move forward. There are these little squares that I put in the corner. They're just there to make sure that everything is in from the outside, the correct distance. You'll also notice with some of this stuff that the pieces overlap, or they don't quite exactly touch. Again, here I wanted to bring this piece and cut it. After I installed this piece and this piece, I put in this piece right here. Let's show it at an angle. Put in this piece, put in this one, install this one, and then measure this one to whatever the length should be. Because I didn't, know perfectly what this angle was going to be. I mean, I had it laid out and everything ready to go, but you'll notice here that this is also an angle. I didn't end up cutting this at an angle. I ended up just leaving it square, so it's kind of cut, like that, straight across. So that was just to make the assembly and the cutting and stuff like that easier. I find those are really hard cuts to make with the equipment that I have. It's not super easy. These square cuts are really easy. And again, on the back here, this is how it is designed. These are just cut right up against each other. It's on the back. It's not noticeable. It doesn't look like anything. So there it is with all the pieces on the inside. A dimension layer. I like to separate things out as much as possible into layers. This dimension layer is the dimension layer that lays out the side panel dimensions. Here you can see this line here is just representing the edge of the wood. I know how far up it is, and I know how far in it goes. And then what I did was I used a string and a screw to scribe this circle here. once I had how high up it was supposed to go and how long it was, how far it was to here, I knew exactly how the curve was going to be made. So getting those two dimensions on there, these dimensions are not cuts or anything. They're just there to show you the exact middle of where this is supposed to be. We measure up from the bottom along the edge of the piece of wood to this exact point. We make a string that's exactly the length from here. It's 11 3/8. Take that string and draw a circle. Stop the circle where it meets this line and where it meets this line here. That's how you scribe that, and then you cut that with the jigsaw. This was where I did a lot of my own work here. I made this area here longer, so the front of my cabinet panel here is a little bit shorter because I had to extend this out a little further to make room for the extra panel pieces. So you can see that's 3/4 of an inch there, and then another 3/4 of an inch. That's 1.5 inches that I had to add to the front of this. We also have dimensions here, another dimension view of the dimensions of the individual pieces, which I roughly used to try to make it exact. But you know, when you're out there and when you're working with it, it's better to go with what looks right and what's going to fit, rather than what you have documented here. Sometimes it could be off, and then you're like, oh, my piece doesn't fit right, doesn't look right. Well, you should just go by what you have out there. And then the one piece that I don't have here is the piece that goes inside here. The way that I built this panel on here was I built half of it the way exactly that I wanted it, and then I just kind of mirrored it and made it that wide. Now you see originally here I had this as 26 inches. We didn't actually end up making it 26 inches. Probably should have. We would have had a little more room here. Under here would have been a little more room. We ended up making it 24 so that it would fit, because I had my wood all cut to 24s, and that you know, that just made sense to do 24 and lop an inch off each side. Drawing these little curves in here and wasn't too bad. The key is to do it in 2D. Everything, all these cuts, all this stuff here. You can see all these all these dotted lines I have for marking stuff and where it should go. Like this is 1 inch down, this is 1 inch in, this is 3.5, this is 1.5 inches wide. I might have made that 1 inch after we narrowed it, but this is 8 3/8, and you know, this I was originally also going to cut angles here. Since we made an arrow, I didn't really have the room. I really like the look with the angles, but we didn't. But get everything cut out of this image, and then you add thickness to your part, and that's really what allows you to do it. You can also do things like you know, make components. So each one of these sections here, each one of these lines is a different component, or is a different piece inside the component. But if I want to just look at the whole thing at once, I can move it without having to worry about you know, messing it up. So I mean, we could do a whole tutorial on this application. I really don't think that's important. But get rid of the panel here. So you just have everything back except the dimensions. So that was it. That was basically the layout and the design that I did, and how I did it in SketchUp. Nothing really too much there. So hope that was educational for everybody. All right, thanks.